What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of Team Gradelock Unlocks Week. I am your host, AlphonZeus, and we're going to be going over the latest Cardfight Vanguard episode, Ride 136, as well as results from our local, as well as the winds of change that are coming to our local in terms of trading card games and, kind of like fading away and fading in. So, we're going to get into Ride 136 right away. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this episode yet, please pause or close the video, go watch that episode, and come back right here. Although, at the time of this recording, we haven't had the sub version yet, but as I want to upload every single video every Sunday, I want to make sure I can at least see the raw episode and get the gist of what's going on. So, of course, spoiler, make sure you take the precautions. I don't want to spoil you on the episode because it's a pretty good episode in that matter. Even though I haven't been able to understand the dialogue that much. I really wish I would really catch up on that Japanese class. Anyways, Ride 136, of course, click in the link in the description down below so you can skip right to the local results. Now, Ride 136. Yuri's Medal is the title. Now, it goes over the card fight between Yuri and Kote. So, now we're going to be going up against the Enigman Wave Chain, the Enigman Chain, Ride Chain, and Dayusha. So, it seems like an interesting card fight. I'm glad to see that at least they got some throwbacks to like the old school Dimension Police. I'm pretty glad for that. Card fight was pretty interesting. I did like how the Great Nature guys, Chris, Lee, and Ali, they were just like kneeling down, reading these spectators. Like of course, every reverse card fighter, acts like a douchebag, and of course, because they lost the match to a reverse card fighter. It sucks. I did like how the dynamic that has been going on lately. It's like the focus is really off of the main character because Aichi is so damn developed. He already has like some pretty broken cards, especially for like Gold Paladins, and I hope that Royal Paladins will get more support than what Daigo premiered in his episode. I'm thinking also in relating back, I like the throwback and the how they're building up the side characters as well as stories about how that team was formed, how the dynamic is, and their triumphs, their falls, etc. And it was good to see at least AL4 how they formed up, and now we get to see how Team Caesar or Kaiser formed up as well. Now, as this fight went on, I found that when Yuri put down those 10k shields as attackers, I'm like, no, you keep that crap in your hand. I don't care if you land a hit with Laurel because Kote said no guard anyways. And so, like, if anything, just put down like a regular, a regular grade 2 or even a grade 1 for that matter. You don't want to use 10k shields in your hand on the field, even if you want to use, Commander Laurel's skill. I consider that a pretty big misplay on her part. But if you want to argue with me, please comment down below with your side. Now, as the fight went on, we get to see how the dynamic started up. It was this guy and Yuri just, card fighting and stuff. And then they meet up with, Kote, who kind of like joins up on the team. And of course, Yuri develops this crush on him. Of course, there's always some sort of crush going on in like every single Cardfight Vanguard team ever, outside of like maybe 2-3 teams tops. So, the fight really went off. I thought Yuri was hopefully gonna take it, but then it's just too hopeless because she like her last attack before the final turn for Kote was a 9k and she can only hit Die Dragon, and Kote was being the douchebag what he was by dropping a 10k shield on top of that. So that really sucks. I felt sorry for her, but now she's reversed, and so Kote's been on quite a roll lately. Although I want to see how much of a roll he is on when in comparison to Tetsu, because Tetsu are some pretty good card fighters outside of like the normal everyday people. I think that Guy. I hope Guy really comes back. I hope he premieres Dai Kaiser or something like that and completely like stuffs it in the face of like reverse Kote. Because I don't know. I feel that like every single reverse card fighter, they have to be a douchebag because that's like the reverse standpoint. It's that dominance syndrome, and I feel that every time when a reverse card fighter loses, and I just take joy in like seeing the shock on their face when they realize like I can't believe I just lost. I'm like, yeah, because what goes around comes around, douchebag. Look at this, I just luck sacked you. Whoa, I swear. And the thing is about reverse card fights, I'm pretty glad that even like Ren went all the way with his comeback. Yuri unfortunately failed with that. Ren was just such a badass, and he was so confident, and he knew his deck inside and out, and that this is completely broken. It's completely awesome. Let's see here. I really hope. I'm looking forward to if he can make a comeback, or maybe some other team will come out of nowhere. Maybe for Grand Blue or even Aichi if you want to go to the airport. Like I want to see some teams, other teams in this aspect. And I loved how Aichi can come if he wants to. Like he can kind of come to the airport with his team and just try and clean house. But if we see another team that we haven't seen in a while, like the Grand Blue team, I really think that this is going to be a epic story arc, just because that Reverse Dayusha is a extremely broken card. I have no idea how people can go up against this, because Reverse Locriere and Reversed Amon, they can't even stack up to what freaking Dayusha does, because again, the strategy that Kote does, he locks the rear guards in back, because you don't need boosters when you have a Vanguard that's at 1k or 0k. You don't need boosters, because he's still going to be dropping the same amount of cards. Although, if you can at least have boosters on, one rear guard, at least one full rear guard column, then you can actually, probably come off with the win. But, at least, you want to aim for just locking at least 2 of the rear guards. But make sure you have 3 boosters, so you at least have 1 full column to attack. So, at least it will be out of the way that either they have to waste a perfect guard, or they have to just take the damage and hope for something. I think that it's, I think that this episode's really starting to expand a lot more. Now that Yuri's reversed, I want to see a guy come in, and then also on Clean House. Of course, I did not see the preview for Ride 137 because I want to make sure I don't have to be anxious about it, because each time I see a preview for a new episode, that just keeps replaying in my head over and over. That's why I'm like, you know what, I'm going to wait for it. Just wait till we go in, and then we see what's going to happen next. And then, I just looked at the team. Team Ninja for Grand Blue, led by Goki. Alright, now let's get into the local results. Now, since I've taken off Fridays instead of Mondays, I was actually able to go to my locals for tag team events. So in tag team events, I went in and, I think there was just 6-7 teams, which was, pretty decent for a Friday night. And I teamed up with Gomez, the guy that I featured in the Cardfight Vanguard casual series with the Galahad ride chain versus the Tsukiyomi ride chain. So we teamed up. He had Naokami the Blood. I had Tsukiyomi. We lost our first 2 fights because we really couldn't do it. The first game was actually a legit game. It came down to triggers and who got them more. And the second game was straight up they crit us early game. By the time we rolled our grade 3s, we were already at 7 damage. And we're like, we can't take another hit or crit in that matter. And they were just oh my god, they were just totally and we got kind of awful stomped pretty damn hard. I felt bad. I was thinking that maybe Tsukiyomi is not good for a tag team. For solo play, yes, it's good. But for a tag team, I'd rather run Dayusha or I'd rather run Bermudas. Either one is pretty good, because at least a counterblast that's not Prism, my partner can use that counterblast for his moves and stuff. And then, the teams that I managed to go on, I know that Josh and Henry, they teamed up again. Unfortunately, they made it. They were knocked out before finals for the top 2 teams because Josh got Gradelocked for 2-3 turns, and he had to try and come back, but unfortunately, they were not able to come back. And then Saturday came around, and we stayed a game on instead of a Game as Gambit because there were more people coming in then. And so what? All right, sure. Let's keep on going. This is our local, and even Mike stopped by from Game as Gambit to kind of just say hi and catch up with the rest of the folks. And so went on. I used my Bermuda Prisms. I actually completed it now. I got my Vert and I got my Celtic, so I'm ready to go. First game, I went up against Irvin. I couldn't really do anything because the triggers were just in his favor, and I couldn't I couldn't deal with Palamedes. I was thinking should I just attack Vanguard? Should I just try and go for Palamedes? And he guarded, and really can't do anything outside of that. The second game, I actually went up against the one of these kids that had a Adam. He had a Spectral Duke deck that I think ran Chrome Jail as well, and he guarded early, which was pretty bad because he had to use his counterblast. By the time I got to turn 5 or so, he literally had 2-3 cards in his hand, and I just did a break ride to kind of get over that. The third game, I went up against Gomez. It was pretty much the Blood versus Tsukiyomi. I used Tsukiyomi for that Saturday. I meant, and actually no, I used Bermuda. What am I talking about? And he used the Blood effect twice in our third game, and that was pretty much the killer for me because I couldn't really do anything outside of that. And so he topped along with Josh, Irvin, and Rob Miller for from Team Dark Matter. If you can check out their channels, you just look them up too. They're pretty cool guys. Now, when it came to top four, I saw that I only saw the third game of between Josh and Rob, and unfortunately, Rob got double crit, and Josh really couldn't take another hit, so he got knocked out, but he was in fourth place, and then it came down to Rob versus Irvin, and Irvin went out with his Alfred beat deck against Rob's Bermuda Prisms, and it just shows that Irvin's a pretty smart guy in terms of like just getting his getting his deck together and just mastering and just trying like just going through his strategy, and that's why he won first place. Um, and then let's go into actually the state of the Cardfight Vanguard game as we saw. Now, I've actually posted on my Facebook group for Team Gradelock, and we were talking about how, the state of the game in Vanguard and how it's going right now. And so far, I feel it hit a stalling point because along with, some members of Team Gradelock, as well as other veterans that are local, we kind of had Cardfight Vanguard. It can be pretty luck-sacky because you have 6 damage, heal triggers, double crits. Of course, they can work for you, but of course, they can work against you. And that's how, a lot of people are starting to, lose faith and interest. And that's why, a couple of us actually just pretty much gave up on the game, started selling our cards, and actually just waiting for break ride season, and so they can always save the cards that they know they're going to use for that time coming up, and then, try and get into other card games as well. Since I have no casual match series for you, I'm actually going to be putting up a Cardfight Vanguard / Yu-Gi-Oh! / Weiss Schwarz trade binder, and I'm gonna put that up later, so at least we have more content that we have right now for our channel. At least I can put up 2 videos this weekend. That'll be pretty good. And so as Cardfight Vanguard and some of us that used to play Yu-Gi-Oh starting to like fade away for a bit until for Yu-Gi-Oh it would be the September 1st ban list, and for Cardfight Vanguard it would be break ride season. So by the time that set 10 comes out at the end of this year, we should be having a revitalized, like a renaissance within the Cardfight Vanguard community. And so the 2 games that are fading in right now are actually turned out to be Kaijudo and Weiss Schwarz. Now I know that in Weiss Schwarz, but like Mike, Josh, myself, we were in the Weiss Schwarz as well. And then we have Kaijudo, which pretty much has a lot of the Cardfight Vanguard veterans, as well as veterans from Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic that actually want to hop on as well. I picked up a Kaijudo deck as well, and it's pretty interesting. I like how it's extreme strategy that it's just completely. It's completely different from Vanguard because you have top decking, but still you have so much strategy in that game that it's like, okay, if you can outplay your opponent, you outplay your opponent. There's no such thing as gaining heal triggers or climax cards at the end just to kind of just be luck-sacky on that. Like Kaijudo is really straight up strategy, and it's all about controlling the game, because if you can control the game, then the match is definitely going to be in your favor, and that's how it is, because you won't get any answers besides top decks. Or if anything, maybe Shield Blast, but still, Shield Blast probably won't be able to, do much damage with even kill a card or draw 2, discard 1. It can always help set up, but it's, if anything, that Shield Blast will probably set up for defense for next round, because if you're at 1 or 2 shield left, then it's all right, and you got a double breaker on your opponent's side of the field. It's really, really tricky, and you have to really protect yourself, or else you end up just losing. And I think that's what caught on with a lot of the members of our local, just that how Kaijudo is so strategic that it's just, okay, if I do this, this, and this, I should be ready for anything, and even if the shield pops up, I have backups. I do have other plans to store. And then Weiss Schwarz, I'm actually starting to enjoy Weiss Schwarz a lot more than Kaijudo. Of course, yeah, it can get pretty luck-sacky as well with climax cards and stuff, but you can only run 8 cards in a climax deck in comparison to 16 triggers in a Cardfight Vanguard deck, which said, even though you won't be getting that much, and plus your climax cards, you're most likely going to be using for final turn situations, or if you want to desperately level up your opponent to kind of get them out of get that momentum rolling. Because I feel that in terms of Weiss Schwarz, that it's more of a momentum game. If you build a momentum and you kind of shut down your opponent, at least when they try to counterattack. Because what I've seen a lot in Weiss Schwarz matches is that we have the first turn, 1 attack, alright, 2 damage, whatever. And then you go into the second round where they actually have 3 different attacks, so they build up 3 stock right off the bat. Or if they want to put in the climax card to do some extra damage, most likely that opponent is probably going to have at least a couple level 1 cards in hand. So that means they can do that and completely control you throughout the level 0, and they can probably even level you up to 1 or even level 2 if you don't have cards to cards in your hand that can like fill those empty spots, especially when you need to encore them as well. So I think I don't know. I'm really enjoying. I know that members of our team like Jason, Josh, Mike, and myself, we're all pretty like into it. I know Jason's into Madoka. He has his decks up. Josh has the red silica and Elizabeth deck. The deck, one of the three builds suggested in the Weiss Schwarz paper, and I have the green blue Leafa beatdown, which has been pretty working out for me because I love that power. I love how it takes my opponent a while because it kind of shuts down their offense on the counter because Leafa is just completely powerhouse, and we have encores that instead of paying 3 stock, you can just put a character card into the waiting room and you can save it. So that's what I like about Leafa. It's just power. It's just power hungry, and it can stay power hungry because you have to put your opponent on the edge for quite a bit. And we know that Alex as well. He's actually running the yellow blue um, strongest couple build of Asuna and Kirito. Sorry if you heard those noises in the background. That's actually Dragon Warrior 3 emulator running. Classic game. And so I think that's going to be the state of the game for now. But I know that in this month when the extra boosters for Nova Grappler and OTT come out, I am definitely looking forward to kind of like finishing up that Tsukiyomi deck and making a remastered version. So now I'll be able to get I'll be able to get the alternate art for Silent Tom, which is pretty much the last card that I need in order to make a completely remastered Tsukiyomi deck outside of maybe 2 SP Goddess of the Full Moons. Maybe if I can pick those up, then it will be completely remastered completely. But I'm aiming for mastering that deck so that I can do good. Because I know that Tsukiyomi is definitely going to be good when Break Ride season comes out. Because Silent Tom is going to be so good against those Break Rides because they're all 11k, and so it's going to be pretty hard for them to even counter unless they have the Valiant Saber Reverse Dragon or even other break cross ride units such as the Extreme Ethics Buster that is a Nova Grappler. I think that it's probably just building up, and I hope that by the time October, November roll around, we'll be able to see hopefully set 13, so we can try and catch up as soon as possible to the Japanese meta, because the Japanese meta is already working on their extra boosters, and they look insane because they have the cross ride for Shurikaiser, which is awesome, cross ride for the other Nova Grapple ride, the Blau-Kruger ride chain. And of course, as I was corrected it from the last video or so, that Blau-Kruger would be the second clan that has a ride chain that would have a cross ride on top of that, because the PBD PBO, that would be the first. That would be the first. That would be the first clan that ride chain has a cross ride for. Even though that I probably. Yeah, it is a ride chain because you do gain that plus 1k and whatever you can do with it. I think that at least the future, like months from now, I know Vanguard's really gonna pick up, and that break ride season is gonna be silly because now it's gonna be a lot of it's going to be a little less luck-sacky because it involves more strategy, because now instead of relying on those triggers for your strategy, you actually have these power move break rides that you can use so that you don't have to worry too much about the other guy. And I think that at least as long as there's more offensive to it, if there's any way to kind of reduce the amount of strategy that there is in Cardfight, reduce the amount of luck and Cardfight Vanguard in favor of more strategy and knowing when to break ride, when to attack rear guards, when to attack vanguards. And I actually want to talk to Henry about that to see if we can do any more tips for the channel. So for any new card fighters as well as veteran card fighters, just kind of sharing the knowledge, grow the community, and so that we're definitely going to be a lot more competitive right now. I'm definitely looking forward to see what will happen next from the episode. From future episodes. I know that every Sunday, don't worry, there will be at least one episode besides the Unlocks the Week series that's going to be up on Sunday, and believe me, it will be epic and will be something that will be worth your time. So of course, don't forget to comment and subscribe and comment with any other things you want to see in a future Unlock the Week episode, as well as what you thought about this episode. Say, I'm open to any sort of, suggestions, criticism, etc. Just, want to make sure I can make this episode great and, this series grades so that at least card fighters can at least refer to me and kind of learn from what happened throughout the week as well as any new news that have been going on. I really hope you guys enjoy this. I'm having a lot of fun just recording these series and just putting them up for you guys. So expect a Cardfight Vanguard Yu-Gi-Oh! Weiss Schwarz trade binder from myself, and that's it for the Team Gradelock Unlocks the Week. I'm your host AlphonZeus, and I will catch you guys next time.